Hey everybody, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about something really specific on my platform and one of the big goals that I want to accomplish while I'm in the state Senate. And it revolves around education. So most of you guys probably already know that I teach high school history and government at Neosho. And tomorrow, my kids are going to come in and take the government EOC, or end of course test. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. If you are not an educator and you don't have a student in school, or you're not a student in school, you might not know what this is. So I'm going to explain what the MAP or EOC is. So at the end of every school year, pretty much, your students are going to take the MAP test or the EOC, depending on what grade they're in. And the point of these is to kind of assess how well the teachers have taught things over the school year. Now, one of the catches is the teachers are not allowed to see this test or know what is on it. So what they do is the state gives us these things called standards, which are supposed to be guidelines on what the students should know or be able to do by the end of the school year. And that's supposed to be what they base those tests on. But the problem is that most of these standards are written very broadly and very vaguely. And so I'm going to read you one of them from my class, Government, so that you can have an idea. Apply the following principles of republic to historical and contemporary issues. Checks and balances, separation of powers, federalism, representation, popular sovereignty, due process of law, and judicial review. Now, honestly, that hasn't helped me that much. It didn't give me anything that specific. It's pretty much just said, teach them government. And so, since these things are so broad and so vague, at the beginning of every school year, whether it's the government teachers, or the biology teachers, or the English teachers, or the algebra teachers, or the 4th grade teachers, or the 7th grade teachers, whatever, we don't know exactly what we're supposed to be teaching them, so we have to kind of guess based on the standards. What do we think is most important and most likely to come up on this test? So we make our guess, teach to it throughout the entire school year, and then hope that we're right. We might be dead on, we might be way off, we're not sure. But so we go through the entire school year, teaching what we think they're probably going to need to know. And then as we get close to the EOC, we have to go back and do a whole lot of review of the entire school year. Because chances are some students have forgotten some things since the very beginning of the school year. It's just the way that it is. So we spend a lot of time reviewing, which honestly tends to be pretty boring for students. Then they'll come in, they'll take the EOC, and this multiple choice test is going to tell the state how well we have taught throughout the entire school year. Now, after that, because pretty much we're supposed to have covered everything once we hit the test. That's why it's called an end of course test. It's supposed to be the end once we've covered everything. And the students know this. But now we have about a month left of school where the students think there is nothing left to learn. And so some of them kind of check out. But then after that, I'm going to get this data back telling me how my students did. But all it's going to tell me is John got 30 questions out of 40 right on the EOC. Susie got 35 out of 40 right on the EOC. This person got 25 out of 40 right on the EOC. It doesn't tell me anything specific. It doesn't tell me like, hey, your kids did really well on the amendments, but not so well on the president. Because if it told me that, I would know, hey, whatever I did with the amendments, do that again. Whatever I did with the president, I probably need to change it. It doesn't tell me anything. All it tells me is, hey, teach government better. But it doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't help me at all. And so once again, we're having to guess and hoping that we're right. And honestly, I don't know any educator that actually thinks that EOCs or MAP tests make their classroom any better. I don't know any kids that like it. They say that it just stresses them out and honestly makes their class boring. And so then why are we doing these things if they're actually not making our classrooms any better? Also, they're insanely expensive. It costs the state an awful lot of money to run these EOC tests. It also is going to cost my school money because they have to hire substitutes so that I can sit in a room and watch my students take this multiple choice test for 2 hours. So I just don't get it. Why are we doing these things if it doesn't improve anything in our classrooms, students don't like it, teachers don't like it, and it costs a whole lot of money? What is the point of these things? Anyway, my students are going to come in and take the government test tomorrow. Please, everybody, wish them luck on this multiple choice test. But anyway, if you guys have any questions about EOCs or anything like that, comment those down below. If you are an educator, a student, or a parent, I would love to hear what you have to say about the EOCs and the MAP test. Please comment that down below too. I love watching people talk about this stuff.